Hello and welcome to EUphoria, a channel dedicated to uplifting the talent and diversity of the European TTRPG scene. Today we are playing Why We Fight in partnership with Stop, Drop and Roll Games. I'm Darcy, I use they them pronouns. I'm a white femme presenting non-binary person with mid-length brown hair, a green and blue plaid shirt, big round glasses, and I've got dirt smudged all over my face.
Hi, my name is Aida. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a Latinx woman of color based in the Netherlands. I have tan skin, dark eyes, wavy hair with some fake bruises on my face, and random cloth tied to my head and shoulder.
Hi, I'm Michelle Kelly. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a brown skinned mixed race woman with long black hair, which is currently messily pinned up. I also have a smudgy, dirt, bruisey looking makeup on my face, and I'm wearing a tan long sleeve top with natural prints of leaves and other nature things on it. Content notes for this actual play include that the game is set in a dystopian world, and there will be references to losing loved ones, electrical burns and injuries, threats of violence with weapons, and references to food insecurity and authoritarianism. Please take care, and if this game is not for you right now at this moment, come back another time. Look after yourself, and remember that games are for fun.
The Community Alliance grew in the cracks of the old world, the spaces where dissent was whispered and the end was foreseen. When everything fell, we continued to bloom. And as the protectorates enforced their rigid standards with the authoritarian militia keeping the citizens in line, our bastions, communes of hope and resistance, grew. We fight for a different kind of world. We fight for ourselves, and we fight for each other. Together, we will rebuild this world and use the ashes of the old to fertilize the soil of the new. Welcome to Why We Fight. This is a GM-less, zero prep game of Solarpunk resistance, and we're going to show you how to put together a crew, how to create a mission, how to run through it, and what to do at the end. It's all very, very simple. Just follow our lead. The first thing that we're going to do communally together, because obviously it's a communal game, we all work together, we're going to create our crew. We're going to have a crew of 4 characters. They are all under all of our control, so nobody belongs to any one character, or no character belongs to any of us. We are able to make decisions for them together. But for the sake of creating them, I think we'll do one each and then like a communal one at the end. So the first thing we do is we pick a name and 2 descriptors. Now, the PDF, the book has a list of suggested ones, such as booming voice, always has a book, infectious laugh. But you can also make up some of your own to fit the character that you would like. Who has an idea for a character and some descriptors that will just tell us about them?
I have a vase of flowers over there. So my character will be named Flora, she, they pronouns. And I'm just going to roll quickly on that table.
Cool.
I rolled counting sheepish smile and infectious laugh. 2 qualities, is that
Oh,
correct?
nice. Yeah, 2.
Great.
I already like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She needs to be brought out of her shell. I like her. Cool, Michelle.
Okay, so I just rolled. I got toned physique. Hello.
Yes. Hi.
And always fidgeting. Oh, maybe you're
Oh,
toned, but you're always fidgeting. You're
very
getting
toned
those
fingers.
finger muscles toned. Yeah, I think I'll do he him. We'll call him Kane. Kane,
Nice.
he's kind of this athletic guy who's always looking for the next thing to do.
Cool, cool, cool,
Alrighty.
cool. I love that we're already building personality into them. That's beautiful. I have the name Bethan in my head. I'm not sure why. And I will roll one and choose one because sometimes I am picky. So that gives me restless movement. And what would be something that would complement that? Oh, choose her lips. She's gonna have she they pronouns as well. So yeah, she's just like a little fidget ball as well. But I think the difference between her and Kane is more that like Kane expends his energy. Sounds like he's kind of an active guy, whereas she's like more restrained with it and tries to keep that energy bundled up, which might make for an interesting duo.
I like that. I like that. And we're making 4, is that right?
Yeah.
One
So
more.
our final one.
So I feel like it would be nice to have. I'm getting the impression all of these are like kind of like young adult types. Like maybe it'd be nice to have like an elder figure in the group.
That's a good idea.
I'm seeing like booming voice on the list. I kind of like the idea of like this elder who has this like commanding presence.
I like
I
that.
like the idea of someone who is normally gentle spoken, but can pull that out like, okay, children, we need to move forward because lives are at stake. But otherwise, it's very soft spoken and kind. Has that capacity, like teachers who can just turn it on.
Yes.
I like that.
I'm not thinking of anybody in particular on this call.
Now I am. And their compliments.
Absolutely.
Who are you calling an elder?
Oh dear. And I think if we're talking about something like that from this list, let's be simple. Old Scar, I think, complements that really easily.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, that implies that history. What are we going to call this person?
A name that sounds like something like Edor, that's got vaguely kind of, I don't know why it speaks of Norse god to me, like a little bit Odin. I'm not going to be as on the nose to call him Odin, but Ador is quite a cool name.
Yeah, Ador, I like that.
What are those pronouns then?
Yeah, you said he. Should we go he, they?
Cool.
He, they.
Got it. All right. I've written them down.
Thank you, Aida.
We will also be sharing them with our audience as well.
Yeah, of course. Cool. So the next thing that we choose is a specialty for each of them. And there are 3 categories. There is mental, physical, and social. And each of those categories has 4 specialties within them. These are the things that these people are really particularly good at. If we come up against a problem involving these kind of areas, they're going to be the person we put forward to tackle the problem. So again, because we have a crew of 4, I think it makes sense that we pick like 1 each and then bonus area. And I also think like the characters we created already kind of suggest which area that they would be specialized in. Anybody got anyone they want to immediately go for?
Yeah, I think for Kane, I already said like the description made me think he was quite like physical, so I think like definitely the physical one. And I think from the like subspecialties, like let's say athletics, I think suits him.
Makes sense. For Flora, her roles were sheepish, smile, and infectious laugh. So I'd like to make them a social character.
Cool.
Looking at the subcategories, awareness, command, morale, strategy. Let's go with commands just to mix it up.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
I kind of like that because I think like we're in this more like communal working environment. Like the person who leads isn't necessarily the loudest or the strongest, but the person who's likable and kind. Like that kind of
Yeah. But also the description of command as a specialty doesn't say like they're in charge all the time. It says maybe it's their voice or the way they hold themselves, but people tend to trust their judgment in times of crisis. So that could lend itself, the kind of person who doesn't talk much, but when they do, it's really worth listening to. I wonder if that's how Flora like contributes her command to the group.
Oh, the person who hates leading but understands, okay, I have to lead.
Yes.
She's the one who's like, in this situation, I can see the way forward. I like that.
Yeah.
We have left Bethan and Ador, is that correct?
That's right. Okay, so I'll use Bethan, and so that leaves me a mental to round out all 3. I think I like the idea of a fidgety little Sparky. I think she's an electrical specialist.
Yes, we need a nerd. We
right?
need a hyperfixation.
She's an ADHD. Oh, Darcy made an ADHD coded character. How surprising.
How original, groundbreaking.
Yeah, I like the idea that she like is good at fixing things and understands voltage and currents and what. Oh no, I've picked a character who knows things that I don't. Damn. But yeah, no, that would be a really useful skill to have. And I like the idea that she isn't always helpful, but when she is, it's something very specific and very, very useful. And then our big lad, Edo, our booming voiced old man, what can he be good at?
Someone that is very rounded and experienced, and I'm also thinking of setting to metagame a bit to round out what I assume we might need. I'm thinking scavenging, which is one of the physical skill type sets, might be a rounder for our group so far.
I'm all right with that.
I like that. Like he's been around a while. He knows how to survive. He knows how to find useful things. I think scavenging fits. Yeah, that's
like,
good.
No, that's branding nettle. Don't touch that.
He knows which mushrooms you can eat only one time and how many you can continue to eat.
Everything is edible at least once. Beautiful. Okay, I already love these characters so much. One thing we have to do at the end is invent a why we fight personality discovery for one of them. Now, personality discoveries are elements of crew members' personalities that usually are discovered in play in reaction to something that happens. But at the beginning, we establish one of them just to give us an extra hook into one character. Now, why we fight personality discovery is just one type of personality discovery, but it's a really good starting one because it's the name of the game and also immediately gives that character motivation to go out of the safe confines of the bastion and go and take on a mission. So, which character do we think we would like to learn a little bit more about, and what do we think is their reason for fighting?
So actually, when you kind of said like Bethan was like an electrical, like a Sparky, like
Mm.
that did make me really curious because I was already thinking like, well, how have they learned that?
Mm.
Like, if they're in this setting where like things, the society as we know it no longer exists, and people are living in these communal organization groups, like. It's not like I assume they didn't like go to uni and study electronics. So like maybe it's something to do with like they had to like learn themselves, like
Mm.
they've taught themselves this. Like I wonder if that's something to do with it.
They
Like
wish they had a mentor. They wish they had a setting. They wish they had uninterrupted learning access.
Mm. Yeah, I like that. That's a reason that they've had to go through that and presumably suffered, shocks and accidents in the learning of it. But
hmm,
would like to prevent that being a necessity for people in the future. Like that's the kind of future they want to build, where education is accessible again.
yeah, like they want a world where like people can teach themselves things, but there are resources to learn communally, and like everyone can have access to
Lovely.
the education they want.
Cool. All right. So we have to phrase it in a way that Bethan themselves would say it. So what do we think to I want everyone to have access to education and not have to teach themselves like I did.
Pithy, short, brilliant.
I love it.
We are great at this, gang. Okay, beautiful. So that is our crew. We know them, we love them. The next thing we do is we set up the mission journal. So there is a list of missions here, and what it suggests that you do is roll 3 times to get yourself a short list, and then you either roll or pick. You pick the one that you want. We, of course, here at Euphoria take safety and social comfort very seriously at tables. We have done our session 0, established our lines and veils. One thing that we have said that we would be most comfortable doing is a non-combat mission. So we are going to avoid the ones that involve combat. We are going to choose our own mission. Basically, we're going to look at the list and just what sounds fun, which you can do because it's your game. Do what you want. So which one is yelling at us, gang? Which one do we think is the most fun?
I do appreciate that the book also lists specifically with visually icon, like this one is most likely to encounter antagonists, which can lead
Yeah.
to combat purposes. So I immediately know which ones not to take. Um, of all these, I'm thinking we have a scavenger, we have someone, I'm thinking sustainability. So I think doing abandoned perishable supplies is going to fit with our mission goals or what we want to
Agreed.
play here.
Okay, beautiful. So, what it says here, perishable supplies are in large demand, of course, but rumors say there is an abundance to be found in a nearby location. So, that is our guidance for what this mission is going to look like. We are going to roll D3 on the table twice to get our supplies. Could I get each of you to roll me a D3, please?
So I'm going to roll now, and I rolled between food or water. Water, I'm gonna just go out because I'm
Sure.
thirsty. I can
I
drink
think
some.
water, yeah, or we could always use water. It's
Always
very
use
hot
water.
today as we're recording this, so we need a
Mhm.
lot of water.
All right, go ahead and do
Okay,
the next one.
I got a 3. It
Cool.
says meds or items.
Ooh.
Items could be anything, I guess. But
Yeah.
I kind of like meds. Like I feel like in this world, like prescription medications or like painkillers, antibiotics, those kind of things are probably like really, really valuable. So I think that would be a good thing. Like that'd be a good motivation to be like, we need to get this quickly because like medications are always in short supply.
Lovely. Yeah, I think we should go with that. Okay, the other questions that it asks is what are they? Well, we've established that. Are they natural or manufactured? I think by dint of what they are, we have to assume that they are manufactured. But this is an interesting question. What has scared off other salvage efforts? Because if this supplies are so valuable, why aren't other people going for them? Or are they?
So okay, so my kind of pitch right here is
Hmm.
I think we mentioned this yet, but in this game, there is the white fist are kind of the organization, the kind of fascistic,
Militia.
capitalistic.
Yeah, they're the literal fascists.
Yeah, like the people who are ruling this world with their iron fist have the white fist, and they are the kind of the enforcers, right? The militia. And I wonder if like this was maybe because like water and meds, like that seems like something that's like maybe was a supply drop from our allies.
Ooh.
You know
We're
what I
not
mean?
alone.
Yeah, like someone was trying to send us it. That's how we know it was supposed to come. But maybe like the white fist have got a hold of it, or it was dropped accidentally. Is that what it says? Or it just says it's in it. You've heard rumors that it's somewhere dangerous.
Yes, yeah, but dropped accidentally. Dropped accidentally is a really cool idea for how it got out in the middle of nowhere.
Like, what if it was like a supply drop and then something went wrong, or the white fist interceded, and it ended up being dropped in like territory, like white fist territory. So
cool. Okay.
people are afraid to go for it because they know the white fist could be there.
Yeah, and that I like that because I like the perishable part because it kind of gave us like a clock on it, almost like a need to go and get it. But I think that then adds a secondary one that there's almost a race on if they know it's there as well and it's nearer to them or within territory that they have an easier time getting to or even control. That's a really cool sort of impetus to go and get hold of it. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And like I know we're trying to avoid like the more combat side of things, but like it could be that we're just trying to get there without being spotted or caught, or get there before they do. You know, it's like it's more about speed.
Yeah. Sneaky mission, and I like it because if we were to play again, we have already another universe and hook for a different party doing this drop, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It could go completely differently already. I like that.
Cool. All right. So how far do we need to go to get there? We need to talk about our options and plan for time. So you can basically establish how long you want your game of Why We Fight to go by establishing how many areas you visit before you reach the mission finale, sort of thing. In the interest of our not taking too long, we want to try and keep this like punchy and just show off all the interesting parts as quickly as we can. We have decided ahead of time that we are only going to do two areas, including two situations. So what that means is that we are going to establish two areas that we are going to visit. The book suggests that each situation will take roughly 30 to 60 minutes, and that the final mission will occur at the end and take roughly 60 minutes. So that should give us like an hour and a half-ish. But obviously we're really efficient and cool. Maybe we'll do it a bit quicker.
We will talk very fast.
We try our best.
We're excited, that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So then we get to decide where we're going to travel through. It's more rolling d6s on tables, which is always fun. Michelle, can I get you to roll the first d6 and tell us where the first location we will go will be?
Okay. That is a 5. We're going to farmland.
Okay, cool. Ida, can you roll a second d6 for me? And the way this works is we're not rolling a second location, we're rolling to see which way around the table we navigate. So they're clumped together in sort of similar categories, and we're going to move from one either up the table or down the table, or potentially stay in the same place.
All right. Now, if I understood the direction, that means the next location will be wilderness.
Okay, cool. So you've rolled up the table. I like that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense that we've gone from sort of our home out to the farmland and then out into the wilderness where this supply drop is located. That makes a lot of sense. Good job.
It does actually. Like it feels like maybe the supply drop was supposed to reach the farms, but it got dropped early because of some sort of problem, and now it's out in that nasty wilderness that's under control of the bad guys. I like it.
Nasty wilderness.
Nasty wilderness.
And that farmland is our buffer area, sort of.
Yeah.
And that seems like a ripe area for like a situation, something to occur to slow us down or provide us insight or resources. So that's really cool. Good job, Dice. Finally, we decide what time of day we set out. The day is divided into 4 time chunks: morning, afternoon, evening, and night. You get different benefits depending on what time of day it is. And also, every time you move on, you progress through a time chunk. So we're tracking our journey in an abstracted kind of way, but we're also keeping track of the time. So What do we think? We want to set out first thing in the morning. If we're aiming for a sneaky mission, we want to kind of meta it and aim to arrive at nighttime?
That
I think that's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like that we're leaving a lot of things to the dice, but I like having some element of control.
Mm,
And if we're going to do a sneaky towards the end of our mission, then doing that at night would make sense. So if I'm reading this correctly,
mhm.
I propose that for our first part in the farmland, we set out in the afternoon.
Okay.
So we're going at dusk hours. This will take around
Yep.
dusk hours. And for the second part of our mission in the wilderness, we are post dusk and it is going into rising moon. So
Love
early
that.
nighttime.
Cool. All right. So we're going to set off in the afternoon. That means that we're going to get a bonus to awareness and scavenging. So that helps our boy Aida. Any scavenging that he needs to do in the afternoon, he's going to have a good time of it. Cool. And the only other thing to mention about the passage of time, two things. If we pass 4 chunks of a day without sleep, then we are going to become exhausted and all of our rolls are going to get more difficult, which makes sense. And every time we make an action, we're going to start a tally. And it's going to be a 5 cross gate bar tally. And every time we cross off that bar and hit 5, a strike through effect occurs. Now, this is most applicable to combat, so it's probably not going to come up a huge amount for us. But things like enemy objectives progressing, dangerous enemies performing their tactics. Something that might come up for us is a new local area discovery comes up. Now, local area discoveries are kind of like personality discoveries, but they apply to the area that we're in. So it's just a case of a discovery, something new appears or is discovered or begins to impact the story in some way. Because we spent so much time there, it's just throwing us a narrative curveball and something else to deal with, which I think is pretty cool. But again, we're fast, we're efficient. We might not even come up against it. All right. I think that's everything for now.
So we're a group of 4, I
Mhm.
believe. Now, based on the current weather that we're recording this right now, playing this right now, I wouldn't mind a bit of a cool breeze.
That would be nice to imagine.
So I'm thinking late fall, first frost sort of time.
Oh, yeah, that feels nice.
Yes. Oh, that's lovely to imagine. Oh. This works actually because that's another reason like medications might be super important. People are more likely
Mhm.
to get sick during the winter.
Yes, we're the kind of commune that plans this in advance. We've established our universe. We're not alone. There are other groups with similar values, similar fights, and they've alerted us that the scheduled drop of water and perishable medicine supplies didn't go as planned, and we have to go retrieve it, lest the White Fist does that before we do.
Mhm.
We have to travel across farmland and into wilderness to get there. So the 4 of us, we've worked together before.
I wonder if this might be the first time, because one thing that you can establish whilst you're working together, when you complete a mission together, you establish bonds. And because we're setting out without any, that says to me that possibly this is the first time that these 4 in particular have been grouped together. They do make quite an odd bunch.
No,
I don't
but
quite.
I wonder if in our bastion, like in our little community, like when something like this comes up, when there is a problem, it's very much like who can volunteer, like who has the capacity and like the time and is willing to go out and try and help. And it might just be that these 4 are the ones who said, I'll help.
Yeah.
And so maybe like some of them they've known each other from living in the same community, but like they've never really worked like a mission before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I like
don't know
that.
who your friends are until you've done a potentially deadly mission with them.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's when the bonds are formed, when something terrifying happens.
All right, lovely. So we see the 4 of them leaving the bastion, trekking out. Um, how I'm picturing like a mismatched jumble of sweaters and jackets and scarves and hats, and everything's like patched and falling apart, homemade with the few resources that we have. Breath streaming out into the cold afternoon air, but a nice bright sun ahead of them. Who leads the journey, do we think?
I think it is Kane. I think
Okay.
that he is really striding for. He's not being selfish, like he's keeping an eye that everyone's keeping up with his pace, but I think he's taking it upon himself to kind of like find the way, get us going where we're going, and just make sure there's a clear route ahead. I feel like he's the kind of person who just can't stand still when he's got an objective. So I think anytime that he finds he has got too far ahead, Kane's turning back and he's I'm going too fast. So he's climbing up a tree, or he's jumping up on some rocks, or like an old fence that's starting to tumble down. He's like hanging off of it and kind of like looking around, seeing if anyone's about, and kind of calling back to the others. Not sort of like being like hurry up, but just being like, "You all right back there? We're getting on."
I feel like Edar is the kind of leader to head up the rear as well, like to make sure that if people do start falling behind, he's there to scoop them up. And I wonder if that happens a couple of times. I'm picturing kind of Bethan and Flora as young adults.
Yeah.
And maybe, especially Bethan. I think Bethan seems like a real weird choice for this mission. The electrical specialist is like, yes, I will go on a trek. So I wonder if there's a couple of times where Bethan is falling back or paying attention to the details of the landscape around them, and Edda kind of has to do the hand on the back of the shoulders and just kind of, come on, Bethan, let's keep going. And then she like, I imagine her as a rubber band, and she's like runs off for a little bit and then starts falling back again. And every time Edda pushes her on, it's again that kind of run to the front of the column, get distracted by something, and fall back.
I think Bethan maybe as well, because yeah, she's volunteered to do this mission, but maybe isn't used to being out and about as much. Like perhaps she wasn't quite dressed quite appropriately for how cold it is. And I wonder if she's ended up acquiring Edor's scarf, this knitted scarf that he's been making for years, and every year he adds a few more rows, so it's all different jumbles of colours and fibres. And Bethan's wearing it to stay warm. He's kind of put it round. Here you go, girl.
Yeah,
fishing them along.
I imagine that Flora is walking along and is enjoying herself in the way that's like, this is the weirdest bunch of weirdos put together. But there is something reckless but wise about this decision. This has to go spectacularly. At the very least, there's going to be some wild stories, and I'm here to witness that. The weirder they are, I think sometimes the better put together. Wow. What the heck do we have here? Yeah, I'm for it. Let's go.
Love it.
Yeah, there's this real atmosphere of like excitement in the air, it feels like, from what we've described. Like maybe it's been a while since any of these particular people have gone outside of the commune, and maybe for Bethan it's actually the first time. So there's a little bit of that electricity of like, we're heading into the unknown today. Like this is a little bit scary, and we know that we're gonna have to face potentially like a dangerous mission when we get there. But right now it's the beginning. Like the sun is still in the sky, and let's go see what's out there.
And knowing that you're doing something really important as well, like that, I imagine there's a bit of a weight of, if we don't do this correctly, there will be repercussions. But especially in the younger ones, like, this is probably my chance to be a hero, to do something heroic. Whereas I've just, like, Bethan's like, I just make radios, like I just tinker about with wires, but now I get to be a hero. It's probably fueling a lot of her energy at the moment.
And this seems achievable. It's a pickup right now.
Right?
Just gonna go get some stuff, it'll be fine.
20 minutes in, out, won't be a problem. Quick adventure. All right, lovely. This is how they pass that afternoon. Do we think there's much? I know Kane is talking a lot and shouting back. Do we think there's much conversation between the others, or is it quite a quiet journey?
I feel like Kane is he's a yapper. I think if the others are in quiet contemplation, then it is punctuated by Kane pointing out a sparrowhawk flying overhead, or sort of showing his ignorance around farming, sort of saying, I thought this was farm, where are all the crops? And like adults having to explain that, like, they've been harvested because we're getting towards winter. And kind of a lot of that. I think he's got that sort of Labrador energy of wanting to keep yapping.
Everybody needs a Labrador. All right, beautiful. So this is how we pass the afternoon. It is a quiet-ish but tense with expectation group who set out. As we approach evening, we are going to arrive at our first situation. Now, there are so many situations that you can encounter in this game, and there are tables for all of them. Another table. So, already know that we are going to arrive in farmland, and so we are going to roll 2d6 on the big table to discover what kind of situation we are going to find when we arrive there. And there are all sorts of different things, from devastation, transformation, environmental, just the whole gamut of things that you could possibly find in the wilderness / farmland of a post-apocalyptic world. So again, because we're checking in with each other on our lines and veils, we reserve the right to pass over any that don't suit our comfort. But if I can get somebody to roll me 2d6 on this table, and we'll see what we see.
4 and a 1.
4 and a 1 gets us a celebration, a cultural situation called a celebration. You discover people preparing for a celebration, a chance for the community to come together. And it wants us to answer, what are they celebrating, how is it significant, and what is essential to this celebration? That sounds pretty workable.
I like that.
Right?
I think that kind of ties in with that sort of sense of like excitement that like we're going to go discover something new today, and then they're going to come across this sounds like quite a jolly scene actually at the start of this mission.
Okay.
I like that.
All right, cool. Let's explore it and see what we can put together. So, what are they celebrating? What is this celebration about? We've got a farmland commune. What cause would they have to celebrate?
It's first frost, so crops are picked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not like a harvest festival.
I have an idea, and this is me, Aida, bringing in my family ancestry.
Ooh.
So in the South American highlands where my family is from, potatoes are indigenous, and they're harvested, and that's wonderful and all. But before refrigeration came around, they would freeze dry them naturally to preserve them for years. And this would essentially dehydrate potatoes, shrink them, water gets removed, and they're reshrunken until they're hard little rocks. And these are sustainable. You just rehydrate, pop them in a soup, all the Hobbit words, of course. And you have a sustainable food, but it requires first that you take potatoes, you stretch them out, and you stamp on them. So you gotta put them all out on the dirt or on a tarp, take off your shoes and socks, and you gotta smash them.
And the potato dance?
There is an actual dance, and the word is choquera, something to this effect. Actually, because we're pre-recorded, give me a minute. I'm gonna go get some. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. The wonders of pre-recording. So, if I may.
What, do you have freeze-dried ones? Have you been stamping around in your apartment?
You've been doing a dance?
Pardon me. So these are freeze-dried potatoes from Bolivia. My family's from Bolivia, and they are small, almost calcified, very powdery. So if I take two and just sort of knock them together,
so they're like hard.
They're hard, and so in order to eat them, you have to rehydrate them. There are some potatoes where you add water to the fat, or you don't. These have water added, so they're white. Without water, they turn black. So these are called tunta in the Aymara Quechua word, or the black ones are called chuño. And that's why stamping on them is called a choquera. And you sort of step on the potato and you rock your feet for extra surface area. And you do this as cold weather emerges. And the potato, the ones you all know, shrink and freeze and dehydrate. And you get this. And they're good for years.
That's wild. I love
no refrigeration. Before refrigeration is invented, of course.
Yeah.
So
I want these.
I'd like to posit that we've encountered a farm commune doing this. And I think this is an interesting example of local indigenous knowledge being particularly important in times where, in this setting, you know, the hyper-capitalist, people who are only concerned with owning, people who are controlling means, No, indigenous and native knowledge matters more here, and the passing that equally is what will maintain our communities, maintain a better balance with nature, more sustainable balance with nature. So, and you know what? This is fantasy. This is the party. I don't know if it's a party in the communities where this happens in the Andean highlands, but here's a party because it's not just Andean people, it's everyone. But we'll say there is one person of Andean descent who is sharing this knowledge so that more people know this.
I love that.
That's such a beautiful thought. The idea
Yeah.
of like sustainable practices becoming valued in a way that perhaps we've lost the value of it,
Yeah.
and like sharing that practice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could totally be a party. I think maybe like this sounds like while it is a dance, it is hard work.
It is
And
work.
maybe this community does make it into a bit of like, we have the festival every year where we need to freeze dry these potatoes, and we play music and we make it into a dance and make it fun and find the joy in it, in this practice that's
Yeah.
going to sustain us through the winter.
Yeah, and celebrate that security as well. Like in a world that is so harsh and survival is not guaranteed, to have found this community, to have found each other and that shared knowledge that brings that certainty of, we have this, we have our little potatoes. If we have nothing else, we know that we're going to be able to sustain. You can live on a diet of potatoes, absolutely. We'll be able to sustain for months, if not years.
Talk
That
to
must be,
Europe.
like- exactly. You must that must be such a relief, and I definitely can agree that would be an excuse for a bit of a party. So how serendipitous. Thank you for bringing us that knowledge, Aida. That's
Thank
so
you for
wonderful
sharing
to have
that.
learned.
And I will share one thing. Next to my bag of dehydrated potatoes, I also actually have dehydrated peaches. And this is another thing we make in the Andean highlands. We dehydrate peaches because we get them from the lower growing lands, of course. My family is from up in the mountains. And you can dip this in boiling water and you get drinks. So these were peaches.
Oh damn, look at those little guys.
And the word we call these are called moko chinchis. And you rehydrate them and you get this brown sweet drink. You add cinnamon, sugar, whatever you want. And then you can just, when they're rehydrated and stuff, eat these again. And again, these last forever. We didn't have refrigeration. No one had back in the day, etc. This is how communities sustain themselves long term.
And it retains like all the vitamins and the nutrients and
It's
stuff.
sweet
That's
even to smell right
incredible.
now.
That sounds delicious. I want to try this drink so
Yeah.
much.
Everybody to Aida's house. We'll be
We're
back.
all playing right now.
Okay, beautiful. Oh, that has worked out so fantastic. I feel like this crew is going to have such a great time at the potato party. That's wonderful.
Potato
Okay.
I love
Okay,
it.
so who else is there? We have a table that we can tables that we can roll on. Who else is there? It says roll one and choose one, which is quite smart because if you roll both of them, the options there might not work together. So who would like to roll for the first one?
Darcy, you haven't rolled in a hot minute.
I actually haven't rolled this game. Let's
mean,
do this.
You roll.
As facilitators are also players.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
this
this
is a GM-less game.
CMless. You're very kindly leading us through it with that beautiful physical book, but you should get to roll too.
I haven't even showed off the beautiful physical book. Look, everybody. Oh,
Beautiful
look, this is a direct action book, and it's really small because this is all you need to get started and play a game. It's so cool. Cool. So I rolled a 3, peaceful civilians. That makes a huge amount of sense. We're going to find a community of peaceful people who have what they need and are happy to be there. And then we're going to choose a second one. What do we think would make an interesting complement to that?
So the options are that there's animals here, the white fist are here. I'm kind of leaning away from white fist because we might encounter
Yeah.
them later. So the armed
Animals-
and desperate is interesting
Okay.
to me. Just so like we've painted this very happy scene of like this community that have a way of getting through the winter, and I wonder if like we're going to come across some raiders who are not in such a secure position, and maybe because they're not sure how they're going to survive, they've decided to try and raid this celebration and like maybe even steal the food.
Okay. I like that as a source of, I think that provides the safest source of conflict in this situation from that table, but I just want to make sure everybody's okay with that, like having armed people and the potential for it to escalate into conflict. Obviously we can control what happens and we don't have to have it escalate into full conflict as long as we're all happy with that kind of tension existing.
Thumbs up from me.
Lovely. Okay, fantastic. GM-less. We can do what we want. Beautiful. Okay, so the next thing is to choose what conflict we notice. I guess that's kind of self-explanatory. We can roll or we can choose. Do we want to roll and see what else we could get, or do we want to go with the obvious, a clash over resources or need?
I mean, I think it writes itself. Thank you, book.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
book.
I think that basically is what I pitched. So I think maybe that one, if we're happy with that.
Yeah.
Lovely. Fantastic. Okay, and the final thing, not the final thing, but the next thing, when we arrive in this situation, one of our crew has a personality discovery. So something about themselves or their past is illuminated by this scene. I'm going to pull up the table if I can find it. So we already talked about the why we fight personality discovery. We have one of those for Bethan. The other options are cherished possession, who I'm fighting for, a hobby that brings me joy, my powerful passion, or hopes and dreams. And there are examples of each of those on there. So looking at those, is there anything that jumps out at us that might apply, that might be relevant to any of our characters?
Let's see. So we've painted Edor as the scavenger, someone with experience, someone who's been doing what they do for a long time. Maybe it's time for a change. We are encountering a community that is not salvaging, but growing, creating, sustaining.
Yeah.
Maybe he decides, instead of finding, I want to make. A bit of the Bethan approach, but in his own way.
Yeah,
I love that.
I like that. Like, maybe that comes under, I'm not sure, like maybe it's like a hopes and dreams kind of idea that like, oh, this is a really beautiful thing I'd love to see more of in the world. That we can learn to not have to scavenge all the time, like you said, but actually create things and become sustainable.
Like, get back to the literal earth.
Yeah, I love that. I like feel like that is a huge character arc for Edor as well. Like having been the oldest guy, like having come from presumably from the old world before everything fell apart, and reconnecting with that, like you say, like getting back to how the better parts of what used to be and finding the joy, the parts that he wants to take into the future. I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Beautiful. All right. He just loves potatoes. Maybe he's never had a potato, or he hasn't had them in years and years, and he's like, oh my god, potatoes, my beloved.
His discovery is that potatoes are great. He's been salvaging, like, maybe he's been salvaging ration packs and stuff, and he's had a lot of dehydrated food, but he's like, oh my gosh, you can do something
Not like
with
this.
these potatoes. This is so much better than powders.
He's had all the canned stuff, and it's always been like, focus on canned, focus on canned. When was the last time you saw, oh, I assume our communes do have fresh food in varying quantities and qualities.
Yes.
But
maybe they don't have potatoes.
No.
And this is what he's been missing in his life. Perfect.
He has that the same as our faces, Darcy, when we saw those freeze-dried potatoes that Aida showed. That's Edor's face as he sees this going on. He's like,
what is that?
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, beautiful.
And now we play?
Now we play until we sort of reach the conflict, and then we can decide our approach to the conflict. So, who sees the farmland first? Who sees this farm village first?
Kane.
Definitely.
He's been running ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, I think is everyone okay if I pick up Kane for this scene?
Do it.
Please.
Yeah, so I think we're trekking along and we see Kane actually running back down the track. And there's a party! Guys, party time!
Can I pick up? Do you mind if I have Aida for this?
Have Edor.
I feel like Aida's response to that will kind of be skepticism of, what do you mean a party?
Farm party. I think a potato party? They're doing a dance. They're dancing on the potatoes. We gotta go.
He's gonna walk up to Kane and like put the hand to the forehead and check. Have you had too much sun exposure today? Have you been drinking? Pulls out like a pouch of water and is like, have a drink, okay? Just settle down.
I think Kane, he's kind of got his hand on like Edor's upper arm, and he's like, come with me, come on.
Just drink first, please, okay?
He's drinking and moving.
Okay.
I think Bethan would have had a moment of party, people, electronics, cables, wires, please. And as soon as Kane is like, potato party, farm, the face just drops. Like, oh, we're going to have an analog moment here.
She was hoping for a LAN party.
Yes.
I think she was hoping for like establishments, buildings that have lighting. Maybe
Mm.
someone needs their electric fence. Maybe someone needs their electric. Flora says maybe someone needs their electric fence repaired. We can combine the things you love with a potato party. We don't know these people, so, and they don't know us, so don't give them reason yelling to Kane. Don't give them reason to be scared. Gentle energy first.
Gentle, great, got it, great. And
Low volume energy.
He's like charging towards, and I think we see this. We see like what Kane sees, and maybe Edor is being dragged along and sees it too now, as we like go over this slight rise that was blocking the view, and we see this like space where all of the potatoes are laid out, you know, stretched out on the ground, and maybe there are a couple of people playing like musical instruments that they've put together, like stringed instruments. Maybe someone has a drum to like create a beat for people. Yeah,
love that.
For
people to crush.
Instruments, all sorts of cool things. I don't have Bolivian wood instruments on my desk at the moment. I've already took a break.
You just not prepared, Ida. How dare you?
You should have everything possible that we might bring up from our imaginations within arm's reach at all times.
Listen, if Gask can do it, why can't you? If Gask was here, she would have Bolivian wood instruments on her desk, I guarantee.
A cow costume and a Bolivian wood instrument.
After the break, we will have Bolivian wood instruments.
Right. Amazing.
But we've encountered this party, there's people playing instruments, and I think there's how do they react when they see our ragtag group?
Well, that's two mask-presenting people carrying bows and arrows and melee weapons, just coming over the rise, charging over the rise, as Michelle described it. I imagine that's going to create a bit of a stir and a bit of putting everyone on alert, like, we don't know who you are, what are your intentions?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there is a little bit of a pause in the music, and maybe a few of the more like senior members of this community like will kind of come forward to meet them, and sort of just they're guarded, maybe not hostile but guarded as we approach.
I think Edo is definitely the kind to immediately just sort of hands up in kind of, I'm not here to hurt you, I'm not armed, I'm not reaching for my weapon, and approach in a calm style, taking the advice of Bethel.
I think Flora absolutely would too. I imagine Flora being maybe a petite, femme-presenting person, maybe a bit rounder faced, rounder bodied, but kind of with that social knowledge, knowing presentation also matters. I'm presenting as like a smaller statured woman. Hello, hi. Sorry for the shout. What do you have here? I'm Flora, by the way, and this is my partner Edor, partner for today.
And then Kate is like, and I'm Kane.
Kane means no harm. Kane will mean you no harm. Hi.
Your music is so good.
I think Edo will like reach out a hand, like gruff white guy reaching for the solid handshake of whoever who has made their way forward. How many of these leaders, and who do we think they are?
It's probably just like 2 or 3, right? Like everyone's right there, so I don't think they've come far away from the group. They're just kind of the ones who have stepped forward to greet us. I think maybe we see an older woman with very, very long, like waist-length hair. It's got lots of braids and beads and woven things into it. It's bright white. And she has that kind of tanned, weather-beaten skin, which says this is somebody who spends a lot of time outside. And I think she's the kind of person who takes charge of situations because she's just inherently respected.
Yeah.
So people look to her.
What's her name?
What's her name? Her name is the worst part. It's Tarragon. Her name is Tarragon.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the name that she had growing up, but it's her favorite herb, and it's certainly what everyone calls her now.
Amazing.
And I think the others, whatever other people have come forward, even now they're kind of looking at Tarragon to sort of say like, what do we think?
So when Ado reaches out his hand, do you think she would take it?
I think she does. I think she does, and she says, "What brings you to our festival?"
Passing through. We were on our way out to the wilderness beyond this farmland on our way to collect some supplies. We don't mean to intrude, and if you would like us to move on, we most surely will. But my young friends here seem very captivated by what you have going on.
She can see like the earnestness. I think as a fellow kind of like person, she probably also remembers things before and sees that in Edor. I think she says, "That's no intrusion. All are welcome. If you'd be so kind as to perhaps leave your weapons somewhere safe nearby, then you're welcome to come into our space and join the party."
I think Flora immediately steps forward, like, we will absolutely do that. Thank you for welcoming us to your space. We don't have much on our person, but there's any skills we can offer, any quick repairs we can do, any news you might be curious about that we can offer, in exchange for your wonderful hospitality. And I've never seen people do that. Why are you doing that to the potatoes?
I think Tarragon will say, "There's no transaction needed. A happy home has elastic walls," and she'll kind of put a hand on Flora's shoulder and like lead her forward and sort of start explaining the process of like how the potatoes are freeze dried and how that preserves them as they all make their way forward.
I think Kane already has his shoes and socks off.
I was going to say, is Flora going to give it a go? Because I think this needs to be a roll. I think this is definitely an action.
Oh, I love that.
Potato.
First roll of the game, potato roll.
All right.
Well, the first in-scene roll.
What skill do we think that this would be? I feel like it's a physical?
It's physical. It's a dance, and yeah, it's physical.
Yeah.
Right?
Kane, like I said, I think Kane is the first one who, maybe a younger person, already said, "Hey, you want to try it?" to Kane, and Kane was like, the socks went flying.
You're right. Kane was already removing his shoes and socks. Like when they're like, "Do you want to give it a try?" He already has one shoe in his hand, right? And he's like, "Yeah."
Well, this works out beautifully because that is Kane's specialty, isn't it? Like athletics is his specialty.
Yeah.
And we're doing this in the evening, which gives us a boost to athletics. So Kane is perfectly positioned to do this. So the way that we roll, let's talk about rolling and why we fight. What we're going to do, the entire crew takes on this challenge at the same time. We're doing this together as one unit, but we have selected Kane to lead this challenge. That character is going to roll 2d6 plus any relevant modifiers, which we've already established is +1 for their specialty and +1 for the time of day. And based on the result, we've got tiered success. So there is a negative for 5 or less, a partially positive for 6 to 9, or a success on a 10 plus. You can also use your personality discoveries, but Kane doesn't have any. And if we had revealed any environmental discoveries, we can apply those as well. But as it stands, it sounds like Aida is doing us 2d6 plus 2.
All right. I pulled out the llama dice. It just happened to be what came out.
Aw.
We're using it for good this time.
Arguably, killing Darcy and Alien was good, like narratively good, but
Was
I don't want it
narratively
to
good.
appear and don't want it to happen.
All right. I rolled a 6 and a 3. That's a total 9. That's
Amazing.
a partially positive and
But did you add your +2?
+2.
Excuse me. Thank you for reminding me.
There
So
you
that
go.
bumps it up to an 11, which is a successful action.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I am looking for a pencil, and there's a fly in my office. Please leave. Thank you. I am going to mark 1 on our tally because we have taken an action.
Yeah.
So that marks a little bit of time spent learning to stamp on potatoes, which is a good use of anybody's time. So we're at a success. You didn't roll doubles. Cool things happen if you roll doubles. You get to apply the same effect again or an additional effect. But you succeed at what you were attempting to do. So you do this with aplomb, Kane. You have been training for this your entire life. You just didn't know it. Describe to us what it looks like as Kane jumps in barefoot and starts stamping on these potatoes.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to describe as much I can remember. I haven't personally smashed potatoes, but this is not a too uncommon story, at least where my family is from. The younger person who was describing the action rather did a quick demonstration. The music happens to pick up a bit tentatively at these newcomers and being told they're safe, we can go with them. So the music is not quite up to the beat yet, but Kane immediately hops on the potatoes and sort of is rolling his feet across them the way you would do over these massage balls. Down, and sideways and forward. And somehow he is hopscotching from potato to potato, and the people around are sort of slack-jawed. And the younger person who was teaching him decides to follow in this much more energetic motion. And we see some of the older people sort of stifle giggles or outright giggling. This has turned back into a happy moment.
I love that. I think it's almost for our friends who have been hiking all afternoon. It's weirdly, you said it's like massage balls. It's weirdly satisfying on the feet, and I think everyone's getting involved. And I think this might be the moment for Edor to have that kind of sense of, gosh, like scavenging can be so hard. Mm-hmm. Everything for a very long time has been hard. And there's something really beautiful, I think, for him of seeing this community find the fun in the things we need to do for survival. I think like he really has that inspiration. Yeah.
I imagine that as this is happening, as Kane is giving his feet some TLC, that Tarragon has like led him to where like some of the other elders are gathered, and is like they're walking through. I'm imagining like tables set up with people eating and just chatting and like playing games and things. And they're kind of wandering through this gathering of people, a gathering of really happy, safe people, which is probably, while he may have seen pockets of this back at the Bastion, it's just this concentrated force of found family. And she's like introducing him to people and telling him people's names, and this is what this person does, and she made my hat for me, and he's the best singer we have, we'll get him to sing for you later. Just introducing these people not by what they contribute, not by the work that they do, but who they are. Like when there is no pressure on them to do anything else, like just who they are in their souls. And eventually they'll sit down, and there's food at this party, right? There's obviously potato-based food at this party. So she sits him down, and somebody brings them some food, and I think they just share a chat, like, who were you before? What did you do? What do you do now? What keeps you going? Why do you fight? That's the name of the thing. And I think he just gets this sense of, like, a bowl of potatoes is the best comfort you can have in the entire world ever. Changed my mind. This wonderful sense of comfort and a full belly after a long day walking, and this music, and the young people in his care having fun. And that kind of gives him this moment of, oh, this is what we should be aiming for.
So, how do we think this piece is interrupted? What do we think the first sign is that someone else is arriving who does not have as nice intentions as we did?
Well, Kane came in like boistering over the ledge, we said. So maybe someone else points out, oh, did you have another group of friends? And we all sort of, the party sort of looks at each other, it's like, we didn't. Who is that? And then we see people we approached in a more sort of open, friendly, waving our arms. These people are crawling over the hilltop. And we see as the sun is starting to set and starting to get more dusk hours, starting to get darker, we see very intentional choices to camouflage. And maybe we see some shining light from scopes, binoculars, what say you? People who are with friendly intentions don't come in so sneaky.
Yeah. I think that will, as much as there was a pause on the celebrations when we arrived, I think this is like a real full stop. Like, we are going to have to deal with this. So the music breaks off and the dancing stops, and Kane scrambles to put his socks and shoes back on. And those who are armed... Wait, where did we leave our weapons? She asked us to put our weapons down, didn't she?
They'd be somewhere... I think they'd be further inside the barn or somewhere closed door. So we are without arms at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. That elevates it slightly. That's interesting.
I think that maybe Tarragon, like, she's kind of stood up from the table where she was resting with Edor, and she's kind of looking and sort of happy to see that some of the younger, like, adults, like not children, but young adults of the community have started running towards presumably where they might have some weapons. They are very much this kind of happy, convivial atmosphere has given way to a more defensive sense. But yeah, we're in the middle of this and we don't have our weapons on our person.
So we're going to have to deal with it with that in mind, which brings us quite neatly into our approach. Now, there are 6 approaches that you can take to a situation. Some of them lean straight into combat. Obviously, we're going to choose to avoid those. We're going to try and resolve this without violence. But the 6 approaches are assistance, interaction, connection, and mediation. And resistance. Resistance is when you say it's time to throw down and go up against these people. So, between the other 5, connection is like interacting with people around them. That's kind of more what we have been doing. Assistance is lending aid, so it could be that. But I think mediation is jumping out at me because if you look at the illustration, this is literally where we are.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful illustration as well.
Isn't it lovely? There's just this
Yeah.
level of inclusion and diversity baked into the art, which I always really appreciate. It's not made a thing, it's just there. So yeah, I feel like mediation might be our approach. What do we think, gang?
Narratively, it makes so much sense because, yeah, let's try it. And as we've mentioned earlier, things get dicey later. But let's let words have a chance here. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think how does it look like then? As who of our party do we think? Because I know we have to choose someone who sort of leads, right?
We
Who
do.
is the person who kind of, as maybe some of us in our group are like looking for where our weapons are? Who's the one who's kind of like, let's not go straight to fighting. Let's see if we can speak to these people.
Well, no, go on, Ida.
I think Flora, because she has that social skill,
Yeah.
might immediately be like turning around to Tarragon and saying, I know what you think you have to do, but give us a chance first. So she's not denying them action, but she's saying, let us try first.
Yeah.
So everyone has agency in the situation. It's tense. We're not going to deny people their fear.
I think Tarragon kind of like, you can see that consideration and that sort of quiet nod. I think she's going to turn her attention to some of the other like more elderly members of the community and make sure that she's taking responsibility for getting them out of potential harm's way, and she's going to give us this space to try.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think Flora has that. It's like that thing we said, like when she speaks, she connects to people, and I think she gets through to Tarragon in that moment.
Yeah, she's probably been quite quiet up until now, but the fact that she opens her mouth then and has that to say carries that weight, definitely.
I think she would explicitly also invite Tarragon. Like she doesn't want to speak for Tarragon and this commune, but she recognizes she has at least a skill set to bring. But Tarragon or representative needs to be part of this approach.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's really smart. Yeah.
So we think our crew and maybe Tarragon and one or two of the other sort of elders or leaders kind of make the like. Do they make a full approach, or we think maybe they just step forward as if to say, "Here we are. We're the ones you want to deal with."
I think Flora would absolutely just step forward, arms raised, like this is your target. If you need to make a target, reckless. I don't know Flora well enough to do that, but I think she would just absolutely. We want to talk. We can do what you want to do later, but we could talk first.
Yeah.
I think one of those, at least one, if not more, of these people who have been crawling, they know now they've been spotted, right? So they'll stand. I'm picturing that, I think straight away when we see them, we see that, yes, they were trying to stay camouflaged, but they're not wearing white fist gear. They're not dressed in like up to the minute military boots and like warm, comfortable, athletic clothing. They look a little bit more like us in the kind of ragtag, hodgepodge, old things that have been patched 1,000 times, but maybe worse than us. I think for some of them, the clothes are sort of hanging off their frame a bit, as though they're a little bit emaciated maybe. I think we can see the the slight gauntness of the cheeks in the one who's closest. What do we think like the person who kind of steps forward as their kind of leader or representative like looks like? Who do they are?
I'm picturing a quite slight average height above the table, average Discord, Euphoria Discord woman height. Average height, slight build, femme presenting person with long black hair with an undercut and several like facial piercings, but this kind of distance in her eyes, this kind of glazed look of tiredness and hunger. And like we described them when we rolled this up, these are the desperate. These people are desperate, and I think that is very apparent in the way that they hold themselves. She's got this like bow and arrow knocked, string pulled taut, and there's like a quiver to her hand that indicates she could let this loose at any time. I think as she makes her way forward to approach the group, there is an element of cohesion in the way the rest of the group acts. Like they may be desperate, but there is some training there, and they've clearly worked together, so they kind of fan out and make sure to flank the village, make sure nobody's going to run away, make sure there's no surprise retaliation, and allow their leader to step forward and talk. And I think she cuts straight to the point, and she just looks at Tarragon and says, "You're in charge?"
I think Tarragon absolutely nods. And Flora would immediately say, like, it looks like you need a win. How can we make this, though, but nobody loses?
We don't care if you lose. You're going to give us all the food that we can carry, and then we're going to go.
That's not going to happen.
Immediately swings around with the bow and just points it directly at the speaker's face.
I think Tarragon, like, she just looks directly at the arrow and says, I've survived a lot of things. Do you really want to be the one to bring the end to it?
We've survived a lot too. This is how we've done it. It's worked so far, and we're going to keep doing it. We're going to survive another day, another winter. You have more than enough, and we have nothing.
I think Flora would pipe up and say, surviving is difficult. Surviving is all we're reduced to. What if we could live together instead of just surviving?
I think that's a really good point for Flora to take lead on the roll, to see how this lands. Okay, so Flora is going to roll. Flora is leading this. We are going to aim for above a 6, and we have a table here of how high or low we roll in comparison to a 6. Obviously, we're aiming to get higher than that, but we have tiered successes based on how high above that we get or how much below that we get. Flora is going to roll 2d6 plus 1 for her social specialty, and we're aiming for at least a 6, hopefully lots more. Aida,
All right.
Go for it.
Let's go. So 2d6 plus 1. Well, I rolled a 6 and a 5, so that's a native 11.
Lovely.
And plus a 1, that's going to be a 12.
12, okay, I think that puts us here. So it takes time, but with careful words and creating a degree of trust in your willingness to arbitrate, you are able to broker a delicate and peaceful agreement between the two groups. There's no telling how long it will last, but as a gesture of goodwill, they each offer you a small gift before heading on their way. So we describe what each side gains from the deal, along with a compromise that one side is forced to accept. So how does that play out? Flora succeeds in making this work, but there is going to be a trade and there is going to be a compromise.
Interesting. Also great because RPing a literal negotiation can be a bit difficult. And I'm glad the book just like, this is sort of a guided track. It's not railroad, but it's a guided track. I appreciate that as well. Just like, let's get to the mechanic.
Yeah.
We did RP, which is cool.
Yeah. So I feel like Tarragon's probably her perspective is that, you know, she can see they're hungry and they're desperate, and she's not a cruel person. Clearly, she's a kind person. But the reason this community has food is because they've all worked together to create it. And I think from her perspective, she's saying rewarding these people who are coming to violently steal from us by giving them any food at all only teaches them that they can come back again later. it makes us weak. And I wonder if like that compromise, that there's something that Flora manages to convince these armed people, these raiders, to do, to demonstrate like a commitment to like helping in some way in response, like in exchange for the food, rather than just taking it.
I like that. Almost an invitation to. I don't think she would be so foolhardy as to just invite them outright to join the village, because these people are a complete unknown and that's too dangerous. But potentially she says like, okay, take a small amount of food and go back to wherever you are from, but the invitation remains open for 2 or 3 of you at a time to return in the day, and we will teach you what we know, and you can potentially teach us about. I'm assuming these people are kind of roamers, that they don't have a home base of their own, and so the thing they could contribute would be knowledge of what else is out there, a bit of reconnaissance, a bit of information that might prove beneficial for the village.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's really good. Like they know that local area because they've been all over the place. They can share that, and I think that maybe the thing that Flora kind of proposes is that if they want to return unarmed in the in the daytime, then they can do that information exchange. They can do that teaching. But I think that the thing that Flora maybe isn't able to push Tarragon away from is like making clear that this community also has armed people, and if they do try to come here again, then they might not be as non-violent. Like I think Tarragon is very like, if this young lady hadn't been here, this might have ended very differently for you. And I think that's that recognition that Flora is able to get across, that like these people, these raiders, they are acting from desperation in a very difficult situation. They're not people sometimes do violent things not because they're inherently violent in their souls, but because they don't know what else to do. And the fact that they've been able to offer them something else they can do here might be enough to change things. I think that's really lovely.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so we do get a small amount of gratitude, which means we can roll on a table to get some rewards. What do we think we would like from each of these factions, gang?
I think we've also convinced them, Flora and everyone else has convinced, the situation that we're in that has led us to this desperation. If one needs to literally fight back, aim it at the source, which isn't Flora and the commune, but at White Fist. And we might actually have to go into our party, into White Fist controlled area. We'd appreciate your support because we've seen you. You have tactical training. You are really reliable. You have a skill set. If you need to get that out of you, could we target it in that manner? Anyone who wants, not all of you have to come, but
I like that.
And maybe that's even part of the negotiation, right? That like you have to do something to help if you want to, if you're gonna take food from this community, and maybe that's kind of their offering to back us up. Backup, call for backup. That's what it's called. So that's kind of the reward we get from them is like, we might get backup later. I like that.
And from the civilians, potatoes?
Potato?
Can we take potatoes?
We take potatoes. I mean, if you don't have the knowledge, if Michelle, Darcy, if I gave you one of these and said this is food, without knowledge, you wouldn't know what the heck to do with this.
I would break a tooth.
I'd be like, okay. Like a gobstopper.
It really is. It's dusty.
Yeah. When you hit them together, you could see the dust like coming off of it. It's so wild.
So
all right, not potatoes. Okay.
Well, we're going non-violent, so we don't need like weaponized potatoes. So
I would say that every group has a cane, and the other group's found cane, and they sort of did their sniffing about, and when they heard that they were going on an extra mission, if this cane was going on actual Kane's mission, I'm getting loopy here.
Cane and non-cane.
It's going to be dark. I want this back. You're going to come back here. We're going to snap potatoes together, but you can take my torch. Cane is physical. Head torch. So you
Oh,
can
lovely.
do the parkouring.
Love it.
I like that. So that's like maybe the general equipment table has like physical specialty equipment, and it says that the character who has it gets +1 when they roll using that specialty. So this will be like a +1 physical thing that we're going to say is Kane's head torch. I'm imagining Kane as like having a shaved head. Actually, that was how I was picturing him.
Same.
Yeah, like so then the head torch like just perfectly like really, it's a really good accessory for him.
Yeah.
I think he also like he definitely has pretty privilege, right?
For sure.
He's super handsome, and anyone else would look a bit dorky in a head torch, but it's kind of working for him, infuriatingly, I think.
It has the twinkling eyes sort of personality.
Yeah.
Is that our first situation cleared?
I think that it is. I think we have succeeded. I think we can say that we can have a little bit more time to, like, the party kicks back up and the music begins again, and we can get rest and get our bellies full of potatoes before we head on into the night. Because as we move on, our time chunk progresses, and we are heading out into the wilderness in the night.
That's right, and I think it's also a really good time for a break as well.
I think that's really good call.
Great timing, everyone.
Good job.
All right, so I guess to everyone watching, thanks so far, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Why We Fight. We are about to create our second situation. We have left the farm. We're heading out into the night with musical accompaniment from Aida.
Probably not. And we said it was going to be a stealth mission, so the pan flutes go away.
That could be a potential distraction, so we'll use that as plan B.
Right,
So, okay, we know the situation builder now. We can whiz through this fairly quickly. Somebody roll me those 2d6 and we will determine what our situation is.
Okay, so rolling 2d6, where we're going to land. It's a 5 and a 3. Desecrated Museum.
Oh, that's interesting.
Place
Okay.
dedicated to the past and learning from it has been ravaged. Glass cabinets smashed. History lost to the cunning or desperate.
Do you know who's gonna love this place? Bethan.
Yeah, or like that could be really difficult, like for her to see like a place of learning, but it's been destroyed.
Oh god, yeah.
That could be like, I mean, she might be like excited about a museum, but then see that it's been trashed, and that could be really emotional. Actually, we
So
haven't heard
why-
much from Bethan yet, so they
No,
might really
she's been
have
quiet.
like, yeah.
So why is it? Let's see. Let's answer the rest of the questions, but let's bear in mind like how and why has been desecrated, who has desecrated it, and exactly what has happened to it. We'll bear that in mind because this is going to be where our supply cache is.
Yeah.
So this is where it has been accidentally dropped. So like, is that what has done the destruction? This like massive crate of supplies being dropped through the roof, or is there something else going on? We'll come back to that. So we've got what we discover. So who else is present? We're going to roll on that table again. Roll and choose. Who will do that for me?
For Michelle.
Roll. So okay, I got a 2, the white fist. The white fist. Okay.
Okay, so we're trying to avoid the white fist. Do we want to re-roll, or do we want to see if we can find a scenario where they're involved but they're not necessarily present, and it's not going to escalate into full-on violence?
Hear me out. White Fist is there, but their human bodies are not there. Desecrated Museum, the setting is wilderness. So I'm imagining this is a reclaimed space, reclaimed by wilderness space.
Okay.
But if White Fist is there, they are there in terms of surveillance. They are in terms of their drone schedules, because this is their territory, right? We're not supposed to be here. They're there in terms of security cameras. They're there in terms of lasers, a la Mission Impossible. So they are there, but we don't have bodies there yet. And
It's a
triggering
presence.
any of these things.
So
Could
the white
future trigger.
fists are present in that they are surveilling this territory. So if we enter this space, like they could be alerted, and then they might show up.
We don't want that. That's what we're trying to avoid. So that's a loose condition for us.
Yes. Well, we know that they're already on the way, don't we? Because that was sort of our impetus for moving quickly to get here. But I like the idea that they're aware that we're in this race as well. And that's kind of the indication that, okay, they need to bear down. They need to get here fast. If we show up on a surveillance camera or a drone picks us up, that gives them a target. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And fits with Bethan perfectly. So metagaming here.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And Kane can do some, like you say, that Tom Cruise getting under the lasers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Stealth mission.
Not Catherine Zeta-Jones getting over the lasers.
Thank you. Way better in my head.
There we go.
A much gayer reference.
I couldn't even remember. Like, there's lasers. My brain is turned off. The lasers didn't come out of mechs, so I don't care. We wanted a stealth mission, so this is absolutely perfect. The dice have delivered. Thank you, dice. Thank you, book. Cool. So then we have to choose. We've rolled that one. We can choose the other one. I guess what makes the most sense out of the options is no one. That it's empty and there's wilderness. Like, we could throw some animals in there if we want, but they're just going to get hurt, and that's one of our lines and veils. So we don't want that.
Yeah, I think nobody. Like, this place is basically abandoned. This is Desecrated Museum. It's abandoned, but the White Fist still have a presence here because of the surveillance. I think
Which
that's
is why no one else wants to come here.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the conflict. I mean, this is kind of, we have to be a bit clever here, because the conflicts that we have, how do we abstract the conflict that we have in our minds into what exists here in the book? Because there's a lot of them that could kind of apply. Technically, this is a clash over resources or needs, but we already did that in a farmland, so I feel like we should do something slightly different.
So I'm looking at, on this table, an oppressive confrontation of one group over another. If we can kind of like stretch the definition of confrontation here, it says, which side has an overwhelming advantage and what is their aim? So the fact we're entering like controlled territory, their surveillance, like they have an overwhelming advantage, and I feel like we've said, like, if they do find us, then we're toast, right? Like they could swarm the area, they have weaponry, and they're strong. Like, this could be much more of a problem. So maybe it's that it's a confrontation is at stake if we're not careful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the conflict, is that we need to be careful and quiet and sneaky, or we're going to probably never make it back
and lose out on the medical supplies and water that we're here to collect.
So our community will suffer.
Yes.
So that's a question.
Lovely. Fantastic. Okay. A personality discovery for one of our crew. Somebody who hasn't already got one. So either Kane or Flora will make a personality discovery based on this situation. So it could be to do with the loss of knowledge. It could be to do with conflicting directly with the White Fist. Could it just be to do with the goal, the fact that this is where our meds and water is going to be found?
Yeah, maybe we could give another one of our people a why I fight.
Okay.
And it could be sort of what you just said about like making sure we have. I wonder if somebody in our group lost someone to preventable illness in a previous winter. Like, we didn't have antibiotics and somebody got an infection or something, and in the times before that would have been treatable, but in the difficult situation we're in now, if that doesn't touch on anyone's kind of safety things, to have that slightly darker backstory, it's sort of in the background. It's sort of in the background that like someone lost somebody, and like maybe that's why they fight. Like, they're willing to go into this very scary situation because they're determined to make sure that their community isn't caught without essential medication again.
I feel like that could apply to either Kane or Flora. I guess we could metagame it, see who we think is going to be doing the most roles. But again, I think both of those. So Flora already has this is proper metagaming now.
There we go.
There we go.
Because it's nighttime, Flora already has the +1 for command. And I do feel like if we are going to send somebody in to do the sneaky Catherine Zeta-Jones, Bendy, Twirly, it's going to be Kane, right?
It's head torch person.
And he's got the head torch. Oh, that's true. He's already got that, so we'd be doubling up. But
I think that could be interesting, actually, because we've sort of established Kane as a very like happy-go-lucky, always looking for the party, and
now
I think
it's
that
a dark backstory.
and like maybe the reason he is always looking for the fun in life is because he has lost things. Like, everyone has something difficult they've gone through in this community, and maybe we're finding out what his is.
Kane.
That's why he volunteered for this. I think it's Kane.
love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so what does it look like as we arrive, as we approach? We've been trudging through the night. presumably we've been up for most of the day, so we're probably starting to get a little tired, but we've been buoyed by the hospitality that we've had and presumably the success of mediating between that potentially really terrible conflict. And now here we are. This is it. This is everybody's first real mission, and here it is. The goal is in front of us. How do we approach, not mechanically, but just in general, what do we see as the crew arrives?
So we came from a farmland, and this is wilderness now.
Correct.
And this is a desecrated museum.
Mm.
So I'm based in the Netherlands, and a big part of the national agricultural history is learning how water is controlled through
Mm.
dikes, waterways, windmills. And there are actually quite a few interactive museums, including outdoor ones, that explain
cool.
how levees, systems, all that poldering works. So if I'm thinking a reclaimed museum that is desecrated and is now at the edge of wilderness, maybe it was a museum dedicated to how the water table worked here, how people, how farmers in the olden days used to create water tables. Here's how the water works. Here's where the kids could pull out the faucets and do the thing. So it was a proper like mini touch on engineering, which is something Bethan would be really, really happy about. But because that goes against by the highly treated water from White Fist, they're like, no one can have this knowledge. You have to depend on us. So it maybe there was a building, but it's reclaimed with vines, holes, mesh, fencing. There were sort of old waterways where in the olden days, kids and families would have traversed and hopped over, but it's covered in grass, rocks, weeds, refuse, maybe actual battles between White Fist and Resistance happened here. Not today, but that's probably why this area is under such heavy surveillance. So we see it, but we see the state it's in. It's a bit open, meaning we have to be quite sneaky here. We can't just sort of walk across an empty field.
Yeah, I think that last little bit of red light from the sunset is disappearing below the horizon, but red light remains blinking on security cameras, drifting in drones over this empty space. And this building that once was, that has now fallen apart from a combination of nature reclaiming it and the forces that seek to oppress us destroying it, is the only landmark. It's the only place this can be. If our allies had to abandon the drop, they would have put it somewhere that it was at least a landmark that we could find. So we know that building has to be where it is. And I think that Bethan really is already always so quiet and has been so quiet throughout everything. But a different silence falls upon them as they see a place of learning, a place where they could have learned some more fascinating engineering things, destroyed like this. I think it's enough to even make Kane sort of slow down and put a hand on their shoulder and just check, are you really okay to do this?
I think Bethan will stay quiet. There will be a pause before they answer, almost to the point that Kane thinks, well, they're not going to answer. That maybe they really are beyond this. But Bethan takes in the sights and especially focuses on the drones and the cables and the installation that the White Fist have left here. And I don't think you get to the point that Bethan has got to where she's able to have cobbled together such detailed, intricate lost knowledge without seeing a challenge and thinking, I'm up to this. I think she likes a challenge, and I think she's already looking at these electricals and thinking, yeah, I can take this down. I can score a real blow against this.
I think Aida absolutely recognizes the Bethan's own fight mode change from like that desperation and heartbreak to game face.
Yeah.
Now the math symbols are floating past their face, but like in a commanding sort of way. Like we weren't entirely sure what was going to happen. We weren't entirely sure if this team put together, but now it seems perfect for the job at hand, and also reflects on us as players who are building this together.
Yeah, and I think that determination, that shift as the equations are floating by in Bethan's eyes, I think that's what all four of us of this crew need to be like, yes, we can do this. This won't be safe or easy, but it's worth doing, and we're going to do it as a team.
Okay. So once again, we need to determine our approach. Now, this is kind of a tricky one because we've already sort of established what it is we want to do. And again, we have to slot it into what is available to us. It's not going to be combat, so it's not going to be resistance. And we've already done a mediation. Don't think it's connection. So that kind of leaves us assistance or interaction.
The inanimate element of this discovery deserves closer inspection. Let's take the time to do something with it. That to me, that's the interaction description here. That to me sounds very like what Aida just kind of narrated Bethan having. That like, I can do something with this security surveillance, not footage, equipment.
Yeah.
So do we want to try interaction?
Let's try an interaction. It's an interesting one because there's more tables and things that we have to determine about the scenario. So we need to determine the size and complexity of the discovery we are interacting with using the chart below. That determines the discovery modifier and the difficulty. So the way that it rolls and the way that we roll against it. And then after this, you can either dismantle or study and activate it. So I guess Bethan is looking at dismantling. And we assume that if it's dismantled, that they haven't got that advantage anymore, and we're more than capable of sneaking through, grabbing what we need, and getting out without ever interacting with them, which is brilliant for avoiding combat. Great job, guys.
We're going to be
okay.
Sleepy.
So, what do we think? We have to determine what size and complexity this discovery is. So, I guess we're specifically applying this to the surveillance system as a whole.
Yep.
So, do we think that it is carryable sized, person sized, vehicle sized, installation sized, or building sized?
We're out in the middle of nowhere. The antagonists, I don't know how much they would invest. Like, I don't imagine like a military truck command center parked outside an abandoned, desecrated museum. I'm looking at my wall. There's a tablet for the ambient temperature controls.
Love that for you right now.
How nice, right? There's a control panel, tablet sized.
Okay, yeah.
That's where I was going.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than tackling the whole thing.
Yeah, there's like a central little computer or something that's like everything else is running through this little server thing.
Yep.
Like it's not a server room, because why? For story purposes, why would you put that in? I don't know.
It's painted bright yellow. It's got markers pointing at it.
It has a target spot, like it glows when you highlight it.
No, I like that. Again, this is a little bit of metagaming, that we're making things slightly easier for our crew, because obviously the smaller it is, the easier it's going to be to manipulate. But this is a brand new crew. They're out for the first time. Give Bethan a chance, is what we're saying.
And I think it's not like there's turrets here or anything like that. It's surveillance. It's some cameras. They're small things. So I think calling it like a little, there's a small control box somewhere that they're all feeding into makes sense.
So it's carryable. It's less than a meter in size. That makes things nice and easy for us. But then in terms of complexity, I think we have to be kind of honest and say it's definitely not simple. It's probably closer to the complex with multiple functions area.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We've said drones and stuff. They're not simple. Like that's complicated mechanical.
I also don't think that they're as high up as like a specialist function. That to me is slightly more like it's just surveillance. You know what I mean? It's just a camera, guys. It's not.
Yeah,
I think if it was something analyzing what it was seeing, then I think that would be another step up functions. But I think just not analyzing, just recording. Like we're recording right now. It's simple, guys. It's easy.
For all of our like Mission Impossible, like I don't think there actually are like pressure pads and lasers.
Yeah.
Like I think it is more like some cameras. So I think complex but not specialists.
Yeah, it's the stakes that are making it much higher. It's not that the stuff is hard to decipher. It's that if the feedback loop is not done correctly, if you don't turn off the power at this interval, which I'm sure we can Google Wikipedia how to do that now, but if you don't do it, some distress signal will be sent out and troops will be coming in person to check it out, and we cannot be here.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like tampering with it could be enough to set off the alarm if it's not done right. So that's like the stakes here.
Yep. Love that. Okay, so that means that our discovery modifier is going to be 2dx minus 1. So whenever we roll against this, we are rolling 2dx minus 1, and then we add in all of our other modifiers. So we're at a slight disadvantage to begin with. But I think that makes sense narratively. Like, this is a white fist controlled area, and we're just these scrappy little guys. So that's, I think, useful.
We can't literally mitigame the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, we can try, but
Bethan just happens to have a computer virus on a USB in their pocket. No. And the difficulty is 12. So that is what we have established, and I think that makes sense. We also have a portable head torch. We also have the potato crew to come and help us if we want them.
Yes.
We have multiple things working for us here.
Do we think that the raiders, the crew, the potato crew, maybe they have crossed through this area before, and they might know, like, oh, if you need to get down there, like, this is the route to get over to the building without any cameras seeing you. And maybe,
dug
like,
trenches.
Yeah, or like even like those old waterways, they're like you can crawl through like this like sunken like canal thing and like get over there without the external camera seeing you, and then you can get to the control box.
They've planted potatoes in the trenches. That's what happens. There's going to be plants the winter, so there's not going to be there now. But that's the intent, is to have potato plants to provide cover.
When we reclaim this area, that's what's happening.
That's episode 2.
Okay, wonderful. I think we just need to get into it then and start rolling some goddamn dice. I think that I'm doing this wrong, but I'm going to do it on purpose for narrative excitement. We have 2 ticks on our little short-term tally. I think I should reset it, but I'm not gonna, because I think that's more interesting. So we've got 3 actions before we're going to get a strike-through effect, before something interesting or dangerous is going to happen. Are we all good with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a one shot. Let's up the stakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so what do we think is our first move? We're on this border, we're behind the fence, working through these trenches. What is our first action to get in and disarm this surveillance?
So I think, picking up where we left off, that maybe we've called for the backup from our new friends. We've gotten some advice from one of them about like which route we could go through, but we still have to make sure it's done correctly. So I think I can imagine Kane is kind of going to try and help lead Bethan through this route, and get them where they need to be to interact. So I think the first kind of challenge here is actually getting over to where this control panel is without being seen.
Lovely. And so presumably because we've picked Kane, we're going to get them to do athletics.
I think it's a physical thing, right? It's about getting down there.
Yeah.
And of course, metagaming. Kane has his special head torch that we gave him. And I think that we've just given him the personality discovery, which will help him here. His determination to make sure that he can do this and get help for people.
So that's a total +3 bonus.
So that would be using the personality discovery gives you advantage, which means that you roll an extra d6 and choose the clue with the highest total. So that's even better. And then we've got the +1 from the head torch, but I think that will cancel out the -1 from the difficulty of the discovery.
It's then they'll just be rolling, right?
It's nighttime now.
No, you're correct.
So they have +1 if they're doing a physical task, because so it's ending up as +1.
3d6 +1. You're going to discard the lowest d6 and take the highest.
Okay, shall I roll it?
Roll,
please.
Okay.
I'm going to mark the tally.
5 and a 2. So my best were a 4 and a 5.
Okay.
+1 would take us to 10.
10. And that gives us, I mean, that's just a success, Michelle. Let's go.
Okay. Oh yeah, any roll under 10 takes a consequence. So Kane just smashes this.
Just smashes it. You didn't roll any doubles? You don't get any extra effects?
No doubles.
It just happens.
Yeah, I think so. We've had that moment of Kane with like the hand on the shoulder checking in with everyone. Are we doing this? And like, yes, we are. And I think he doesn't even say anything, which is very unlike him, right? I think he like holds out his hand to Bethan to take it, and then just starts leading her down into this like sunken waterway. He's got the head torch. He's using it to keep it pointed down so they can watch their step and make sure that Bethan doesn't trip or hurt themselves. And he goes from Labrador to sheepdog, right? He's just guiding his companion and making sure that they can safely get where they need to go.
Yeah.
And they are confident as they approach this building that none of the cameras on the outside have spotted them at all.
Lovely. Okay, Ida, what is the next challenge? We have got in through sort of the gates past the barbed wire. We are in the compound, as it were.
Yeah.
What do we know where we're going? Can we see this, or do we need to do some sort of roll to find out where it is? Or is it just a case of moving as quietly as we can to get close? It's a shame that Michelle rolled so well, because then I could have thrown a consequence in and had some drones come and peek over, but no.
There's
I
still
will
time.
say that they absolutely will have made it into the building. So they crawled through the now empty canal spaces. There was a strategic hole in the wall. This museum wouldn't have been very big because where it's located and the breadth of the exhibitions, I don't imagine there's like galleries about it.
Yeah.
But if the White Fist, has come in and added their surveillance equipment, they probably just used the generic, what is it called? Electric case where all the fuses are.
Fuse box.
The fuse box. So I think they have to go locate the fuse box. And let's say there is another physical challenge. There's barbed wire.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of have to kind of cut and crawl through that.
What if I may, like, what if it's broken glass from like when exhibits have been smashed?
Oh, that's cool.
So it's kind of, we're inside the building now, but there's still dangers and like hazards because this is a desecrated museum that's been smashed up.
I like that.
Oh, I'm imagining not just cameras. So it's also, there's cameras in, around. I don't know if there's too many inside. I think most would be outside. No, noise detection is also a thing. You can't step on the glass, otherwise it's going to crunch and
Oh yeah, like the cameras would like pick up the sound, like they have microphones in them. Yes, that's good.
So it sounds like we're building up to a camouflage role. Does that sound accurate?
That sounds accurate.
So we don't have anybody who has that as a specialty. Specialties are exactly as they say on the tin. We can assume that everybody has a sort of general ability with everything else. But when you attempt a roll with an unfamiliar specialty, unfortunately, we are at -2 penalty to that roll. So we gotta pray to the dice gods or not, and just have some interesting consequences happen. That's secretly what Darcy is rooting for. So who do we think would lead this? Who would be the most camouflaged, the most sneakiest?
Well, Kane already just had a roll. I think we need to sort of spread it out.
Correct.
And the two in the building, Bethan?
I feel like that's probably accurate, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we're saying that only two of them, I kind of narrated that only two of them actually went in, right?
I'm following this.
Yeah, so I think between them, probably Beth and like I think we said they're also quite small and like unobtrusive, so maybe it is that they're now taking over and trying to be sneaky.
All right. I'm going to roll some dice. I'm going to roll for Bethan. So, we're going to be rolling 2d6. Currently, that is a -2 for an unfamiliar specialty and a -1 because of the difficulty of the discovery. However, what is Bethan's... Can we get Bethan advantage on this? Can we say that she is spurred on by her personal discovery of wanting everyone to have access to education, that being in this place, witnessing what the White Fist will do to sources of education that aren't approved by them, just makes her... I feel like there's an anger to her. Like we described her earlier as a rubber band, and I feel like she's compressed right now, and there's this anger, this rage building. This is what they do, and this is why they must be stopped. Do we feel like that's enough Pat Rothfuss bullshit?
I love that.
Like
she's having to avoid the actual destruction of educational materials to be able to get through here, and like I think there's that rage, and maybe even at the back of their mind this thought of like, if we beat the White Fist, this could be rebuilt.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're doing 2d6, but we're still at a -3. Come on, dice. Come on. Do something fun. Oh god. So my lowest is a 1. I'm going to discard that one, thankfully. That leaves me with a 5 and a 3. So that is 8. But -3 takes us down to a 5. Womp, womp. But now we get consequences. This is great. This is fine. This is a negative. We choose a consequence. So there is, again, a table of consequences, but we're going to choose. I think it's narratively interesting, given that we split the party, that we make this consequence apply to the group outside to give them something to deal with.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So we've got become revealed. An accident occurs, emotionally overwhelmed, create a hardship. Character is hit. A lot of these are combat based, but we can adapt them. We can be clever. Ooh, okay. So I think creating a hardship would be nice. I think becoming revealed is incredibly narratively useful at the moment. Or an accident could occur, like with the two outside might be roaming around somewhere, trip, fall, hurt themselves.
I feel like we might be slightly playing cowball here because I think revealed, if you're in a combat situation,
Yes.
revealed has certain mechanical implications, I know. But for our purposes, perhaps what it is the two outside, like one of those drones that's circling, goes on an unexpected path, and they're pretty sure that it saw them. And it's just going to be that, like, now the two inside, they have no way of telling them this, but the alarms could have been raised. It could be that now the clock is ticking right now, that they have to get out quickly. And maybe the consequence for these two, for Edor and Flora, is like, how do we help them? We're out here. Are we going to go in? Are they going to go in and try and join them, or are they going to try and prepare for if they arrive?
Yeah, I like that. Or try and deal with, take out this drone, maybe? There's a risk to that it eliminates that camera, but then it's a definite signal to the White Fist that something is wrong. Something has interfered with this camera.
Yeah, to sort of help the story or save the story a bit.
Yeah.
They don't know why we're here. We still have to find the crate, the drop, that, let's assume, just smashed through the skylight of the museum and is on their sole balcony-esque of a second floor. But it's hard to get to because of the cameras. The enemy doesn't know that the medical supplies are here, but knowing that we're here is bad enough. So we have a chance at an escape rather than mission ending altogether. So I'd say let's go with be revealed, and this, I think, is the scare, the fright.
Yeah. Let's put the pedal to the metal and get this done. Okay, beautiful. What will be our next action? Are we going to stay with the group inside, or do we think there's something that the group outside can do? I think it's mostly on Bethan now, isn't it? We're just waiting for her to do what she needs to do with the control panel.
Yeah, I think she needs to. Well, like we've said that she's gotten over there. I think now the clock is ticking. If they're gonna get these medical supplies before they have to get out the Dodge, they need to dismantle these cameras. They've got to. I
will also say this will be the 5th action. This will be the strike through. So something is going to develop whatever happens. We'll have if it's a failed roll, we'll have consequences and we'll get the strike through, which is tasty. Delicious.
But yes, also yummy. Okay.
All right, Aida, do you want to take Bethan up to the control panel?
All right. So we've crawled through the hazards. We found the control panel, and we know that successful manipulation of the control panel will allow us access to that giant crate that is dangling off the edge of the balcony, and it has the symbols of our allies. We know that's what we're here for. All right, come on, Bethan.
So, is Bethan? No, we've used Bethan's personal thing, but this is her specialty. So this is 2d6 minus 1. No.
I think it's 2d6.
Just 2d6. Wow. Yeah.
Flat.
Okay, I rolled a 5 and a 3 for a total 8.
Okay. So partially positive. So we are going to get a consequence.
Okay.
And we are going to get the strike through. So what do we think for a consequence? How does it play out? Could it be an accident?
Maybe, but what if Bethan does get shocked, just like when they were first learning, like this is a new system to them, and they're gonna get hurt in the process.
I love that. Yeah. They're gonna be okay.
They're going to be okay.
Get them out of this.
But this
so she is technically
opened, yeah.
hit, which means injured. And then whenever... Oh, I see. Okay. Whenever a character leads in action, they are placed at the top of the crew list, making them more vulnerable to being hit. Aha. Didn't know that. There you go. Again, think that's more combat relevant. But yeah, okay, so describe what happens, how she makes this happen, but ends up getting hurt in the process.
The fuse box is opened, and it has all these additional wires, additional tech, additional chipsets that were added in by the enemy for the surveillance system. And it's linked up to the museum's former power source. I don't know, Aida, as a person, how to nicely describe all that. But in clamping off certain wires, something is so overloaded it sparks out. And for a stealth mission that Bethan has to shout out audibly, and you just smell that smoke of burning plastic, and you see her holding their arm like close to their body. But you also hear that whirring, powering down, and a lot of the red lights turn off for cameras. And I think Bethan at this point grits through pain, saying they're going to automatically turn on in 9 minutes. Move. As Kane sort of like does that careful, like, are you okay? I hope you're okay, but I have to go. And springs into monkey athleticism to try and liberate that crate while Bethan is like nursing an injury and maybe white face, blood drained from the face, knowing did that yell trigger the microphones? Did the power rotation really turn it off, or are they coming?
So one of the strike through effects that we can choose is the enemy objective progresses by 1 step. So I think that makes a lot of sense to say that yes, that one of those things or a combination thereof has alerted the White Fist. What I'm not sure of is how we can allow the characters to know that narratively, because if all those cameras have gone down, it's not like all of them are going to immediately turn and start closing in on their location. So what other kind of environmental effect can we think of that would give away that time is really running out now?
So I think that we said that Edor and Flora weren't sure if the drones saw them, and I think that possibly now they are sure, because they can hear distantly the whirring of helicopter blades.
And a spotlight in the distance.
Yeah, nobody friendly has a helicopter in this world.
I mean,
more's the pity. If there's a helicopter coming over this territory, that means that the White Fist are coming.
That's fair.
And they have to go. They have to go. And I think they'll hear that yell from inside, from Bethan, and that's enough information to know. Cover's blown. There's nothing more that can be done here, and they just have to hope that Kane can get to that crate and get out.
Do you think it's fair to say their reaction to that, like they've been holding down the fort outside sort of thing, and now it's time to move, it's time to go in and help, especially to go and help Bethan? Like they can hear that Bethan's in pain or has had something happen and will probably need assistance. So I'm imagining the two of them like turning, running up the steps of this museum, barging through the front doors and going to find her.
The cover is blown, just go.
Yeah, the lights have gone off on the cameras, so I think they just run straight across the open field. And as you say, they got to get in, find Bethan and be like, we got to go.
I don't think we need to roll for find and help your friend. I think that's a pretty easy thing for them to do if they're not attempting to be stealthy about it anymore. So I guess that just leaves Kane. And what I assume is going to be his final, most brilliant athletics roll to this crate and liberate the supplies. He hasn't got a personal discovery, which is a shame.
We used it.
I just haven't written it down on my document.
We already used it in this scene, so I don't know if we can use it twice. But
I don't believe you can use it more than once per mission. No.
Okay, so he doesn't get it this time.
Come on, Dice.
But 2d6.
He's got his head torch.
-1 for the difficulty, but he's got a head torch to combat that, and then +1 for athletics. So 2d6 +1.
Okay. Do you want to roll it, Darcy?
Go on then. Choose the correct dice. Don't betray me, dice.
Come on, Kane.
You can do it, bud. 2d6 +1. I rolled double 5s.
No!
What does we finally find out what the doubles do?
The doubles, so hang on, then. So double fives is 10, and then plus the 1 is 11. So that is a successful action. And the doubles means that you basically can do the same. You can add to the effect, you can increase the success level, or you can add a secondary effect, which I think is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say Kane just becomes a blur of motion. He leaves Bethan where they are, and he just begins like parkouring up the walls, up the broken staircase is just not a problem. He leaps, he rolls, he bounds, he monkey bars. He's like Spider-Man, and he gets up to this precarious balcony where the crate is kind of balanced. The Wile E. Coyote imagery is incredibly strong. I'm gonna say, what is an additional effect that we can add to that? He just does it real good. Doesn't sound as narratively interesting.
Wonder if when he gets to the crate that's marked with our allies' symbols, like maybe it's not just medicine and water in here. Maybe there's something else.
Oh, I like
an
that.
additional exciting thing that like they didn't know was going to be in this drop.
Yeah,
the allies have found.
A nice little surprise. I love that. Okay, so having said that, then roll me 1d6, and we'll see how much of each. I'll roll one as well. Why not? This dice is cursed. It's another 5.
I rolled a 6.
So 6 medicines and 5 units of water, and that's
amazing.
We were hoping for at least 4, I think. So that is a wonderful, wonderful amount. And then I'm sure that there's got to be another table that we can roll on to find out what other interesting thing that we get. There's plenty of tables in this game. What if we use the above the table? Is there a supplies table, or should we maybe just use?
There is a supplies and salvage table.
There we go.
I was looking at one of the things you can get is gadget, and I wonder if there's a gadget in here.
Yes. Bethan something nice for their injury.
Yeah.
I'm looking. The gadgets are on 72 and 73.
Oh, they're cool.
There's some cool stuff in here.
Do you want to roll, or do you just want to choose something?
What if? I think that when Kane gets this box, he sees something in the top of it, and he sort of looks quickly, and there's a grappling hook in there. And he thinks of all those trees he hasn't managed to climb, and all of those buildings that that like Edor's scavenging short missions haven't been able to get up to the upper levels because the stairs have caved in. And he thinks this is going to be so helpful for our community. Like, I'm going to have fun with this, but also like the scavenging groups are going to have so much use for this.
I love that. Okay, beautiful. I am continuing to tick the tally, so that's another 1. I'm going to say that we need to get out of here in the next 4. Otherwise the White Fist are going to arrive, and we are going to have a bad time. So we've got the slightly injured Bethan being tended to by Edor and Flora, and Kane up at the top, swinging like a monkey. He's going to be able to get down real fast. He's got a grappling hook now. Ain't no stopping him. What are the group on the ground doing to try and get Bethan out of the door?
Do we want to have our new friends, the potato crew? Maybe one of them can run a diversion, and this is an incredibly risky thing. Maybe they're a group of scavengers. They're kind of a bit nomadic, so they're hunting. Maybe one of them has a pelt, a really big pelt that as a group they took down a bear, so they have hides. Maybe one of them can just don it on and run around away. And if a drone or a helicopter light sees a shaggy fur, maybe they think, oh, it's just a bear. Did we get pulled out for a bear?
He's turning around like, Arr!
And some of these White Fist members are going to be insisting that they have seen Bigfoot. I love this. No, but I like it as like tricking them into thinking it was animals that set off the cameras is actually quite a fun idea. I like that.
Do we want to make a roll for that? Can I make an argument that that's a strategy roll?
Yes, yeah, because they're using their tactics. Like as a group of raiders, they do this. They try and cause distractions on their targets.
I love that. Yeah,
getting this wrong is incredibly, incredibly dangerous, though.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Because these people, they could be like, "Oh, bear, violence. We don't want that either."
Yeah. Okay, so now how do we roll for a combat crew who's not like there's rules. Again, this is a little bit of the table. Cut this out. Michelle, you pointed out there's rules for an asset for like a another crew who is assisting you, isn't there?
There's rules for backup. Call for backup token. Why is this so hard? Call for backup. Sometimes you gain call for backup. When you use this, they'll come in, blah, blah, blah. Okay, apparently usually it's only after 5 tallies that they arrive, but whatever.
Oh, well, yeah. We've done 5 tallies, technically.
Add +1 for each pair of armed civilians. It's because it's all combat. Oh, backup can be used with non-combat approaches as if they are an extra crew with no specialties.
Cool. Okay.
So you just treat it as a crew member rolling with no specialty in the
lovely,
subject.
lovely. So they'll be rolling at a -1, but that's okay. But yeah, no, but we established that we called them in at the beginning, so 5 tallies have already passed. So
Perfect.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Cut all of that. So we can use our call for backup. Again, we're doing this in a sort of non-combat situation, which is a little bit unusual, but we play the game we want to play. So we established that we called them in at the beginning, and now is the time that they have arrived doing their bear camouflage strategy. And so we do a roll for them. Who would like to roll me 2d6? And we just assume that this is a crew with no specialties. And so they'll be rolling at the 2d6 -1 because of the difficulty of this discovery. Who'd like to do that for me?
I'm gonna roll.
Yeah, go on, Aida. It was your pitch.
Roll for bear.
Roll for bear.
That is a 1 and a 6.
Ooh, it's a 7.
Oh, but they're at a -1.
Oh no.
6. Okay, heck. Not great, guys. Not great. Well, 6 to 9 is partially positive, so it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
We just choose a consequence. I had a bookmark and I've pulled it out. What a silly little Billy I want.
I've got them. I liked your song then. So we've already kind of become revealed, so I don't think that applies.
Yes.
Accident.
So in combat, if the crew becomes revealed, then all of your future consequences must come from the revealed table, which are slightly elevated and more direct in impact. I think that would be accurate for this situation.
Yeah, I think so. Well, one of them here is create a hardship. We haven't done that yet.
Choose a character and permanently reveal something that could potentially hinder them should it become available. Write it on their sheet with a -1 beside it so that it is going to act as a detriment to their future roles. Were you going to pitch something there, Michelle?
No, I was just going to say, like, maybe something about not necessarily the bear gambit, but the fact that, like, someone's been hurt and the enemy are bearing down on them and this is not going as smoothly as they might have hoped is enough to, like, trigger something in somebody.
I like that. I do.
Is there a table for hardships like there is for personality discoveries?
Great question, Michelle. It's a great fucking question. There's personality discoveries. This is set 25. Hardship discoveries. There they are. Yeah. Okay.
Hardship discoveries: an unquenchable vice, a crushing phobia, a traumatic event, grieving those they took, a serious allergy, a chronic issue. Do we think that this is a traumatic event? Do we think that being in this very scary situation is going to make one of our crew frightened in a way they weren't before?
Yeah, maybe. And I wonder if this is just a pitch. This is not me suggesting it outright, but like, I wonder if this is an Ed or hardship. I wonder if this is if he was the one to make the call. This is almost kind of like leadership trauma of I sent them into danger. I sent them to potential deaths. That kind of guilt that you might carry from something like that, of asking somebody to do something, even though you know they might get hurt.
Really like that. I think we've kind of established Edor as maybe he regularly runs kind of like scavenging and salvage crews, and he's ended up with a group that he hasn't worked with before and are pretty inexperienced, and maybe he takes a lot more responsibility. Like, I let Bethan and Kane go in there without me. I said I would stay out here, and now Bethan is hurt, and I could see how that would really weigh on somebody who's kind of seen themselves as being responsible for this group by dint of being the most experienced. And I could see that being a real hardship in future. Like, if they are ending up looking after crews of younger, less experienced people in the past, it might affect their judgment or their ability to stay calm.
I like that. So again, we phrase it as if it's something that Edo might say himself. So something like, I put them in harm's way, or I didn't take care of them.
Like I put them in harm's way. Like I can see, I don't think they did, but I can see how sometimes in ourselves we can blame ourselves for things that aren't our fault, and I think maybe that's what we're seeing from Edo here.
And how that could come back to haunt you again in the future. Like if you're in a position where you need to order somebody to do something, you might have that crippling self-doubt of, am I making the right choice?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel that sort of, in a sad way, tinges his discovery of, I want to create, I want to be in a position, I want to be in a farm where this is less likely to come up.
Yeah, maybe Edo is starting to realize that this way has worked for their community for a while, but they need to try and build something better because he doesn't want to be putting people in harm's way anymore.
He just wants to grow potatoes.
He just wants to grow potatoes.
Let the man grow potatoes. Right.
Okay.
So I think we've done it. I think we've narrated enough success and hardship and sacrifice that we've got Bethan out. Kane is going to be fine, swinging down to the ground, and they take their supplies and they turn tail and head back home. I think it's going to be a long journey back through the night. Perhaps they're able to reach the farmland by morning and maybe rest there before heading back to the bastion. But the mission is complete. And when we complete a mission, we have a little bit of sort of wrapping up and housework to do. What we can do is establish a bond. It's called The Bond is Forged. And we choose 2 crew members who have a personality discovery and create a bond between them. We can establish a scene in which it emerges and roleplay it out. And then we give it a descriptive name. And anytime in future missions that these 2 interact, that they take actions that benefit or target one another, they get a +1 on that roll because they're buddies, because they've got a bond. So who do we think might have forged a bond through this mission?
I've been shipping Kane and Beth. Based on what has happened between them, that tense moment, the reliance on each other.
Yeah.
I've been shipping the 2.
Yeah. I ship it too. I ship it too. Bethan deserves a sexy, happy-go-lucky boyfriend.
With a dark past.
With a dark past. Yes.
She needs that kind jock.
Yeah. Bethan deserves a himbo.
Thank you. That's it.
All right, you 2. I want you 2 play out this scene.
Okay.
How does this? I'm not going to say it immediately blossoms into a romance, but like a spark.
There's absolutely a spark.
Yeah.
Like there's a why am I blushing? It's just Kane. It's just Kane.
Yeah, I think he comes to see Bethan in like whatever kind of like medical like building or camp they have at their bastion, and he's picked like a magnolia flower, and he's like, "Hi, I used my new grappling hook to climb the big tree, and I saw this and I thought it was nice."
You were up in a tree and you saw a flower not in a tree.
No, the flower was on the tree. It's like a flower tree. I know you're more into like electrics than nature, but I thought you'd like it anyway because it kind of reminded me of the pink headscarf you wear because it's pink.
Thanks for thinking of me. I thought about you too. That I don't think I could have done what I did without you there.
Oh, I mean, you did all the smart stuff, like the way you like had the wires and then you had them in the different wires and then it went pew! Like you were so brave. It was really cool.
If your head torch ever needs maintenance, I'm happy to do that for you.
Do you think you could make it brighter? Because I would love for it to be like a little bit brighter.
I if you'd let me.
Yeah, and I think he's wearing it for some reason. It's the middle of the day. He's like, yeah, and whips it off. And like as he hands it,
I can tinker.
Like
I've been given the gift of tinker, and then there's a little touch.
Yeah,
and then the scene goes blurry, goes fuzzy.
And I think he's just, you know, I hope your arm feels better soon. I could bring you the Tarragon taught me how to make that really nice peach drink. I could bring you some if you like until your arm feels better, and then I can show you how to make it too.
I'd like that. I also saw on the roster that they might be needing more people for another mission. The nurse said that I should wait a while. I'll let you know if something comes up we can both sign up for.
Yeah, and then I can try out the new torch.
Yeah, you can try the new torch.
I'd love that. I'd feel safer on any mission knowing you were there, Bethan. You're so smart.
Thanks. Go.
The way I had to mute myself throughout that, I'm just like
shipped.
Quiet.
Shipped and delivered.
All right, beautiful. One character also gains either an additional specialty within the same category, or they upgrade their bow. So when you do combat, it's everything is bows and arrows, which is why more the gadgets are cool types of arrows, like water bomb arrows and spark arrows and things like that. So for our crew, that's probably not super useful, but we can give someone an extra specialty. Who do we think would have gained something?
I mean, we made Bethan sneak.
We did.
Want to be within the same category, so Bethan's would have to be. I mean, she's learning all about chemistry now. Let's go.
I was actually
did
thinking
there.
about Flora, and I was wondering if that experience of like mediating that really tense situation like helped her to learn more about like her social skills. I'm trying to find the social specialties.
Awareness, command, morale, and strategy.
Maybe strategy.
Strategy, based on what you said, seems like a good shout.
Yeah, because she was also the ones who kind of was outside of them, like working with the potato crew, who were quite strategic. So maybe she's just learned a bit more about like strategy and dealing with difficult conflict through this mission.
There was a sharing of skills from the potato crew to our party as well, and this might lead into better relationships. Now we have a more network of allies.
That is something that you can do as you play a longer game. You build outreach and you can establish more bastions. You can kind of spread the good word of resisting against the protectorate and a different way to live, and help each other out and share those skills and that knowledge and build a better world. I think we've done a really good job of showing how that's possible with this game. I've had such a wonderful time, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've loved this, and I can really see now doing those ending things, like how your crew can develop and how you can tell the story of how these people are united but also become badly affected at times by the struggles. I like that this game doesn't position resistance as something that's always easy, and it isn't just a sort of hero empowerment fantasy that you're just going to go and always beat the bad guys. Sometimes you get out by the skin of your teeth, and sometimes you're changed by it, but you're working together towards a common good. I think that's a really beautiful message this game is conveying through its gameplay. I loved it.
The game also let us really strategize. We were able to consider optimizations, which I think can be fun as well. But the game also ensured that even though we were going to succeed, that there were going to be complications. They are baked in. As much as you optimize, your story is going to have some darker beats.
Yeah.
And it means you're not going to just sort of roll your way, succeed, sort of lock it in your way through a thing.
Yeah, I love it. I thank you again to Stop, Drop, and Roll for partnering with us so that we could spend the very, very warm afternoon playing this really cool game.
Yeah.
It's been really fun. So thanks again for the partnership. It's been a joy to work with you.
Check out the
people.
If you're interested in finding out more about the game, go and click the links, go to their socials, follow them on socials, go to their store, buy the game. There's 2 versions of the game. This is the version we were playing with. This is direct action, which you just pick up, you go. It is 0 prep. You just follow through the instructions. You roll on all the tables. Tables. And then there is also the core game, which is... Sorry, this is the core game. Direct action. It's literally right there, and I'm just telling you.
Core game on it, yes.
We're that excited about it.
I have both, so I'm allowed to be confused.
You're waving the wrong one, that's all.
Yeah. This is the one that just gets you up and playing. Direct action is for more campaign-based play when you want to establish those bastions, and you can run multiple crews as well, which is something that we didn't do for time and simplicity's sake. But you can have 2 or 3 crews going on the same mission and backing each other up and taking different. You could have like, this is the physical crew who would do all the physical things. This is the mental crew, having them tackling the same thing through different strategies. It's for 1 to 5 players. You can play this solo. Above the table, can I plug Maddie? Because Maddie did this.
Yeah.
And if you want to see how that's done, you can go and listen to our friend Maddie Slell's podcast, A Game of One's Own, in which they did a solo playthrough of this game. It was very, very good. To see how you do
I
it.
need to listen to that.
Yeah. It's wonderful. Really wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Why We Fight. Thank you again to Stop, Drop, and Roll. Thank you for watching, and we will see you all later.